Greetings, Earthlings, and welcome to 7th Street. Today I'm going to do something a little bit different. I've noticed that a lot of other YouTubers who do movie reviews have done videos on their movie collections. So I'm going to do one of those. I have all around me hundreds, maybe thousands. I'm not sure. I've never counted of different movies. So I'm just gonna do one shelf here, and if you guys enjoy this, I'll do more videos if I get some positive feedback, or if the video breaks 100 views, I'll definitely do another one. So I'm just gonna start with my favorite VHS shelf. And yeah, like I said, if you want to see the rest of my collection, just comment or make sure it gets a lot of likes or subscribe or something.
All right, guys. Let's start with the top shelf here. I've got my demonic cymbal banging monkey from the MST3K episode of Merlin's Shop of Mystical Wonders. I've seriously searched everywhere for one of those, and I often make him hold my autograph from Mary Jo Peel that I got in 6th grade. Me and my friend Josh Dietrich trolled for her email address, and we emailed her, and she was super cool. She sent us an autograph like right away. I have him sit on top of my MST3K tapes. He always falls over, so I'm not really going to take these out as much. I'll just kind of zoom through them. Pod People, Cave Dwellers is my favorite. It's probably one of my favorite Joel episodes. It's definitely my favorite Joel episode that I have on tape. I have a couple copies of MST3K the movie because I don't have it on DVD. If I want to watch it, I watch it this way. I actually have this screener tape. It's pretty cool. I don't know if that's rare or not, but I have it. And then I keep my unopened big box of Humanoids from Deep up here. I got this on Craigslist from this guy for super cheap, and I haven't taken it out because I have Humanoids from the Deep on DVD, so there's no reason for me to open it. And then I have some of my George Romero VHS tapes. George Romero is my favorite director of all time. Super bummed when he passed away this year. Super bummed out. And I haven't done a references film episode for any of his films because I'm still working on some. I don't want to just half-ass it like I do with some of my videos. But this media tape of Night of the Living Dead is the first time that I ever actually saw this movie. It was on this tape, and it totally changed my life. Scared the shit out of me. It actually did. I was only 7 years old when I saw it. And I had to buy that tape then when Hollywood Video went out of business. And it's a really cool looking one. And then I convinced my grandma to buy me this collector's edition of Dawn of the Dead not too long later. And I've been taking it around to different festivals and getting it signed by cast members. So far I've got Ken Foray and Galen Ross to sign it. That's pretty cool. I've had both of these since I was like 7. And God, I begged for this tape. I was so afraid that she wasn't going to get it for me because my mom sure as shit didn't want me to watch these movies. And I had never seen it, I was just sort of going off of, how cool Night of the Living Dead was. And I had seen some movies on Sci-Fi Channel, some different zombie films that I didn't know the title of, so I was sort of assuming that it was Dawn of the Dead. But man, I was fucking shocked when I saw that movie for the first time. And my friend Josh gave me this collector's edition of Day of the Dead. Pretty cool. One of my other prized possessions is a signed copy of George Romero's Martin, one of my favorite movies of all time. If not my favorite all-time movie, my number one choice. It's signed by John Amplis. I met him at Crypticon this last year. He was super cool. Just sort of picked his brain for a little while, as a as an aspiring actor and filmmaker myself, I'm always sort of in awe when I watch this movie of George Romero's talent and John Ampliss's talent. And then this was a recent find. It's a clamshell of the Crazies. I just thought it was cool. Had to get it. And then back there I have a VHS copy of Girl in Gold Boots, because I'm an MST3K fan. But as you can see, I need much more shelving space. If you could see the rest of my room, it's pretty, they're just fucking movies everywhere, man, and they're in boxes. I need to really get my shit together. So moving down here, I have my Universal Horror VHS tapes. I fucking love these MCA early 90s Universal monster tapes. They have that really cool opening where it's just like throwing tapes at you. That's like the Universal Monsters classics. I fucking love these. But the first one that I got was actually this clamshell of Dracula. I was doing a stage play of Stephen Dietz' Dracula. And I was a big fan of the Hammer ones at that time. I was probably like 15. It was in high school. And this was the first copy of Dracula that I actually bought with the Philip Glass and the Kronos Quartet doing all new music for it. And I know it's kind of sacrosanct, but I almost prefer it with the Philip Glass music. Then going down the list, I have Son of Dracula, obviously, Lon Chaney Jr. Sort of a weird one. I mean, I have mixed feelings about this movie. I really like how it opens with, like, there's, like, the dusty glass, and it's, like, this, like, zombie hands wiping the glass, and then the title appears. But just stupid things like, Lon Chaney's name is Alucard, which is Dracula backwards, and they just, like, force it down your throat. Even in the opening scene, there's, like, some guy who sees a carriage and buggy. This has Alucard on it, and he starts going, Alucard, D-R-A. It's like, we get it. It's not that fucking clever that you have to force it down our throats. But then House of Dracula, which is one of the first Monster Mash movies that I ever saw. I like John Carradine, but he's horrible as Count Dracula. But other than that, I actually kind of like this one. A lot of people shit on it. Going down the list, some of these are sort of out of order, because I like to keep I have the Mummy down here. But it's the 1999 like re-release of the Monsters classics, and I like to keep the MCA ones together just because I like how uniform they look. They look super cool. So then I have the Mummy's Hand, which is my favorite of the Mummy sequels. It's really cool, and they're all super short. Mummy's Tomb, I mean, they're all like 60 minutes or something like that. Something ridiculous. Yeah, 1 hour and 11 minutes. They're ridiculously short. The Mummy's Curse is really funny. This is the one that's like supposedly supposed to be set like in the 70s, and it's supposed to be in the future. And they're like on the bayou, and there's just this weird saying. There's like this guy who's always like, the devil's on the loose and he's dancing with the mummy. It's such... I love these classic films just because it's almost like watching movies from a different country, It's almost, our country's pretty unrecognizable to how it was back then, just in the way that we talk and everything. The Black Cat with Boris Karloff and Bela Lugosi is fantastic. I wish I had The Raven on VHS. I'm always on the lookout for these. I don't buy any of my stuff online either. I kind of have a rule that I have to find it somehow, but I won't order shit. The Phantom of the Opera. Never been a big... and this is the remake, too, I think, with Claude Rains. I've only seen this one once. I've never been a huge fan of any of the Phantom of the Operas. So, it's not just this one. It's any of them. Going down the line, Werewolf of London. This is a really good one. This is actually the first Universal werewolf film, I think. I hope I don't sound like an idiot. I believe that it came way before, or, well, not way before, but at least a couple of years before The Wolfman and Frankenstein. I just really like these covers. You'll never see anything like that again, now everything's so, I don't know, so photoshopped, I guess. It's just like a silhouette, if you get the DVDs. It's not like this, it's not artwork. This is artwork, whether or not you like it or not, or whether you think it's cheesy is besides the point, but it is, these are works of art. The Bride of Frankenstein, fantastic, probably the best sequel ever. It's, in my opinion, it's much better than the first one. I never get tired of this movie. When I was in high school, I used to get pretty stoned and watch this. It's just a fun time. Then Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman. Another great one, and I don't really know what to say about it. Bela Lugosi is the monster, which is not his best role, but he was getting pretty old by this point. And then the Wolfman. These are the later Universal classics. Creature from the Black Lagoon. Me and my friend Josh, we watch this like every October. We watch this movie. I have it on Blu-ray now. But when the Creature Walks Among Us. I know I need Revenge of the Creature. Here's the Mummy. Already showed that. Then, I believe in the mid-90s is when this Sci-fi collection came out. It came from outer space. And the Mole People. Which is a really cool cover. Too bad that movie sucks. It's written by MST3K, which is a pretty funny episode. The Night Monster, which is a really underrated film with Bela Lugosi. Yeah, I probably should have included it. I almost included it in my top 5 favorite Lugosi films, but Bela doesn't have that big of a part. It's just, I just like the movie overall. And then I also have this little documentary from Good Old Good Times, one of my favorite releasing companies, one of my favorites. I don't know why. I mean, they're cheap. I like their covers and stuff. I kind of grew up with Good Times films. All my Godzilla VHS and stuff are over there. Yeah, most of those are Good Times. Going down the list. The Invisible Ray, which is, arguably one of Karloff and Lugosi's best on-screen performances together. This is my favorite of these old covers. I believe it's from the 80s. It just looks so cool. I love that. Mark of the Vampire, which it took me a long time to see this movie. I don't have it on DVD. This is how I saw it. I actually burned all of my VHS tapes onto DVDs now. I literally have this big spindle that's like, it's taller than one of these tapes. And it's just full with DVDs. And I can burn 4 tapes onto one DVD with my recorder. Because I like to preserve these. I know it sounds ridiculous, but sometimes if I want to watch a VHS, I watch a DVD that has VHS burnt onto the DVD. It's really sort of this super backwards ass way to watch a movie. The Frank Langella, I don't really know how to say his name, version of Dracula. I used to really like this one too. Like I said, when I was doing the play, I wasn't as familiar at the time. When I was a young teenager, with Lugosi, especially his version of Dracula. And I liked the Hammer versions and this version maybe a little bit more. I don't know. There's another The Many Faces of Dracula. It's another. This one isn't Good Times, it's Brentwood, but it's another Dracula kind of documentary or special or whatever. I just thought they were cool. I saw them at a thrift store. Alright, going down the list. Or, well, not going down the list. Just literally going down. Got Barracuda on VHS. Just another hilarious cover. I'd love to have that as a poster, you know? Just seriously, just serious work of art. And like I said, these are sort of overflowing. Up top I have the Cat's Eye, and or just Cat's Eye, and Attack of the 50-Foot Woman by Key Video. This is really beat up. It's just how I got it at the thrift store. And then I actually found this fairly recently at a thrift store out at the beach, out at Seaside. God damn. Where's my fucking mind today? Barracuda, Zsa Zsa Gabor, Queen of Outer Space. You know, there's a reason that they're kind of like the first to go, because, I mean, there's nothing special about the tape. I usually just keep movies out here that I'll actually watch. There's a chance of me watching them. With Barracuda, not much to say about the movie. The cover is way better than the movie. And that's sort of the thing with most of these VHS tapes, you know, the cover really baits you in, and it writes a check that the movie just can't cash. If it doesn't have any screenshots from the movie on the back, you know that it's probably dog shit. I just love that fucking cover. Well, like I was saying, good times, man. Good old good times. They always got the worst movies. Just the worst. Other than the Godzilla movies that they released, they got just the worst movies to release in the 80s and early 90s. But they gave them the coolest covers. Like, this movie is awful. Just terribly boring. Creature of the Walking Dead. I actually watched it last night. Or 2 nights ago. I watched a Fulci film last night. Not on VHS. I watched it on my DVD that's burnt from this VHS. And then I just recently got Crucible of Terror from, gosh, what's it called? Hollywood Babylon here in Portland. And this movie is also painfully boring, but I sort of knew what I was getting myself into with the Good Times tape. This VHS tape of The Man from Outer Space. Or, God, I'm sorry, I'm watching the screen. I'm not even, I should be looking at these in person. First Man into Space, which I did a reference this film episode of. It's now out on DVD from Criterion, which just blew me away. I had no idea that this film was that popular. I bought it at a movie theaters for like $4, maybe $3. And then I saw it online going for like $30, $40. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that this was that popular. I mean, I love the movie. I got it, you know, probably when I was like 18 or so, and just fell in love with it. I used to watch this movie all the time. The day time ended. I think I got this at the same time that I got First Man into Space. Talk about being 18 and having nothing to do but get stoned and watch movies. This was one of the best for that, for sure. Another good old Good Times. Battle of the Worlds with Claude Rains. Another, well, I mean, this one isn't painfully boring. I mean, it has its moments. Scientist, Claude Rains. It's like, why bother? Why bother with the credits on the back? Yeah, I found this at a Goodwill a couple of years ago. Probably like 4 years ago, and really liked it. And then Phantom from Space. I fucking love this cover. Good Times always made really, really good covers for their VHS tapes. And this is probably one of the better movies that Good Times actually had the rights to, but it's a public domain horror, public domain sci-fi horror, and it's almost like a documentary, I'm trying to think, not really like found footage, but you know how like Cannibal Holocaust and Blair Witch, they try to pass it off as kind of documentary-esque or real. That's sort of how this movie is. It's pretty out there. Invisible Invaders. I really liked this movie the first time I saw it. I actually saw it first on DVD, on those midnight movie DVDs. Nothing special about this tape. This is sort of my sci-fi, like some of my favorite sci-fi shelf. There's no real rhyme or reason to the shelf. Like you saw, there's like George Romero and MST3K, then Universal Monsters Classics, and now we're kind of getting to sci-fi films. There's not any real rhyme or reason. It's just kind of what I like. It doesn't really make sense to anybody else. Day of the Triffids. I used to really like this when I was a kid, and I don't know. I've gone kind of cold on it. I also have another copy of it. I don't know why it's not right next to it. I like this cover a lot more. My girlfriend got it for me for Christmas, I think, 2 years ago. And it's so much better than this copy. I actually don't even know why this is up here. I probably should have made room for something else. But I really like that cover. I hope you guys can see this. The lighting is not great in here. It's definitely not optimal. It's a little bit better. Kind of a boring movie, actually. Like I said, I liked it when I was a kid. I thought that it was really, really creative, you know? Like, everybody going blind from the meteor shower and everything. Killers from space. Yeah, like I said, you know it's bad when they don't have screenshots from the movie. This one's actually not that bad, though. Early Peter Graves movie. Super cool cover. I love that. The MST3K crew, the later ones, Mike Nelson, Kevin Murphy, and I'm blanking now. No, I'm getting nervous. Bill Corbett. They before they did riff tracks, they did something called the Film Crew, and they made fun of this. It's pretty funny. Reptilicus on Orion. One of my favorite all-time giant monster movies. If you haven't seen my top 5 giant monster movies, check it out. Reptilicus, I think, is number 3 on that list. Used to be fucking obsessed with this movie. I love that cover. Super cool. Son of Kong. Except that they got a picture of King Kong on there. That's definitely not the Son of Kong from the movie. He's got white fur in the movie. Some people really like it. It was definitely a rushed sequel. I'm not nuts about it. I love the original King Kong, don't get me wrong, but there are some people, like Cinemassacre guy, who just thinks it could arguably be the best movie ever made, which, come on. No, it's not. No, it's not. Not even close. Dracula vs. Frankenstein. I did a review of this for Halloween. The Something Strange video, Very Strange video. These covers are pretty cool. The only other one from this company that I have is Raiders of the Living Dead, which has such a funky, like, a theme song called Raiders of the Living Dead. It's just so deliciously 80s. It's about, like, this little kid with, like, a ray gun who runs around killing zombies. It's pretty ridiculous. Very strange video. They definitely release strange shit. You gotta give them that. Johnny Sacco and his flying robot. Just a couple episodes of it. And I'm a sucker for kaiju films. So I've definitely not seen all of them. I mean, they're, they're on par with Ultraman, the old Ultraman, definitely. I just like this tape. No reason for keeping it out, other than I just kind of like it. I like the movie. Invaders from Mars, the original one, which, the Tobe Hooper remake is actually an instance where I like the remake a little bit more. Not that I dislike this movie. I just really like the Hooper remake, which I also have on DVD and a cool VHS copy of that. It's kind of a funny cover. Same company that released Son of Kong, too. Should probably put them together. Like I said, no real rhyme or reason. Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I like this movie. People consider it like one of the best classic sci-fi films. I could agree. It's just not one of my favorites to watch, but I do love Kevin McCarthy. We have like the same name. I have an IMDb page. Because have I mentioned that I'm an actor, filmmaker before? I'm sure that people think that I'm a complete douche lord. But anyway, when I like get the link for IMDb to like submit for auditions or anything, you type in Calvin McCarthy and it always comes up with Kevin McCarthy. So I kind of consider myself and him soulmates, I guess. Here's the remake of Invaders from Mars. I fucking love this cover. I wish it wasn't so beat to shit, because it looks so cool. I always leave all the old movie store stickers on there. I just love that cover. I always have. And then we were talking shit about Good Times, right? They release bad movies, and they're bad movies because Good Times has released them. And then you have Star Classics. And these movies are like movies, most of the time, they're movies that are like unheard of. Like I just got this recently. I was like, Horrors of the Red Planet with John Carradine and Lon Chaney. At first I was like, well, I've never heard of this, but, obviously they mean Lon Chaney Jr. There's no way that this movie is like from the silent era, clearly. No pictures on the back, but I'm like, what is going on with this movie? I've never heard of it. Well, this movie is actually The Wizard of Mars, which is a god-awful 60s science fiction film with John Carradine. Lon Chaney Jr. is not in it. I don't know why they put that on the VHS. I mean, it's clear that the people over at Star Classics, you can sort of tell by the quality of the artwork, but, you can tell that they just didn't even watch their movies. They just sort of got a title, have some, like, third grade drawing, and they're just like, yep, get it out, put it out there. No picture on the back, no real information. It's ridiculous. But I had to have it. I love these Star Classic covers, and the one that takes the cake, man, is Journey to the Center of Time. Look at that. That is truly magnificent. I love shitty VHS covers like that. I remember I saw this at a thrift store and about shit myself. I was like, what is this? I've never heard of this. What a weird title. And they would often do that. They would, retitle the film. Or go with like an off-brand title, a working title or something. And they would make these ridiculous covers. And like, they have this T-Rex on there and it looks cool. And I'm looking at the back and there's nothing. I'm like, I wonder what this movie is like. I mean, it looks like Rambo, with, a laser gun of sorts and, T-Rex. And, there's like an iguana in the movie for like maybe a minute, but this never happens. It's hilarious. Yeah, I love when companies would come up with these ridiculous covers and just be like, oh, that's good enough. Yeah, go. But I also have the movie under its real title, Time Warp. And this one has like stock footage, like pictures like from an educational book in it. It's like, oh my god. This movie, they had to like really bullshit their way to sell this. Like real bad. But going on, Star Classics, probably one of the few good things they've done is release Gorgo. Get the rights to release Gorgo and make a pretty cool... I mean, I wouldn't mind having this as a poster, I mean, that's pretty well done. The people at the bottom are kind of funny. It looks like a coloring book, but, I mean, not bad. Good job, Star Classics. Just to get this out of the way. Rats. I showed this in my, whoa, got some shadow there. I showed this in my, review of this movie. One of my favorite Matei films by far. I love this cover. I always have. There's like this old punk rock store in Portland called Another State of Mind, and I used to go there and get like patches and t-shirts and shit for like my leather jacket in high school. And they didn't sell movies, but for some reason they had this tape for sale. And it was like a jacked up price too. I think it was like $12, and I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna get it. I love that cover. I was like, maybe 15, 14 when I got that. Wizards of the Lost Kingdom 1 and 2. Nothing phenomenal about these movies, but I don't know, they're just kind of fun kids movies to watch. The new season of Mystery Science Theater made fun of these, which I thought was hilarious. And I have them both on VHS. And of course, Orca. Just another cool another cool movie cover. Keep it in these. I have a couple of these like plastic slip sleeves, and I mean, if something looks good, I'll keep it in a slip case for sure. And moving down, let's see if we can get rid of some of this glare. Sorry about that. I should have planned this out a little bit better. I have no clue what the quality of this is going to look like, so I apologize to anyone who is super annoyed with this. But here's my dinosaur shelf. For me, Godzilla VHS tapes are the gold standard. But if they're the gold standard, then dinosaur films on VHS tapes are the silver, or they're definitely second best. This Christopher Reeves dinosaur like educational film is super cool. I got this when I was like a very little kid. My dad used to work at OMSI, and this arguably could have been the thing that jump-started my love for genre films. See if I can get that back in there. Just a Discovery Channel documentary on dinosaurs. Fantastic dinosaurs of the movies. This is like one of the coolest. It's kind of just like a compilation of movie trailers and kind of like behind the scenes stuff from like Ray Harryhausen films. And I used to watch this all the time. And I've spent my entire life like finding these films, because some of them were pretty hard to find. This is where I saw trailers for like Reptilicus and It Came From Beneath the Sea, Loch Ness Horror, things like that. I think you can watch this on YouTube for free. If not, maybe I'll have to upload it, because there's no fucking way there's a copyright on this thing. No fucking way. Sorry guys, the light here just blows, and I'm sorry. It's not a dinosaur film, but the giant claw belongs here. I super overpaid for this tape. I don't think it goes for that much. I think it's only like $20. think this is Good Times, right? Good old Good Times with their epic fucking cases. But I sort of overpaid for this tape, actually. Just a couple of years ago, too. But I wanted it. I saw it and wanted it. So, made the move on it. Legend of the Dinosaur, which is not Toho, but it is a Japanese, kind of Japanese kaiju film. And MST3K made fun of this in their KTMA seasons. There is a copyright on this film, though, so I don't know if you'll find the MST3K on YouTube or not. I love this movie, and I thought that cover was just so fucking funny. It's another instance of someone just like, just taking like a couple of hours to draw this, and they're like, all right, cool, yep, put it out there, someone will buy it. The Last Dinosaur with Richard Boone. I'm totally gonna do a reference this film episode of this, so I won't go into it too much. I also have it here, and this is the first time that I saw it, was on this tape. And it's funny because apparently this movie is like, was a lot more common or a lot more popular in the 90s. I guess it would play on TNT or something. I believe that Toho partnered with an American company, and they made this film, and I had never fucking heard of it. So I was at a Movie Movers when I was like 18, and I saw this and lost my mind. And you can tell, I mean, even then I hadn't seen the movie, but I knew that, this was not, this is from The Lost World, and this is just, a cropped photo of this. So I knew that this was different, that it wasn't going to look like these rubber toys here, and I had never seen it. So I was like, I obsessed over it. I loved this film, and then as it turns out, like, everyone's like, yeah, dude, Last Dinosaur, where have you been? So, Return to the Lost World, not very good, but, dinosaur film, and it's got David Warner in it, so, how are you gonna hate on it, right? Lost Continent, Cesar Romero, who was the original Joker. Sorry that this keeps shifting around. I'm just kind of uncomfortable here on the floor. This is like a decent, stop motion dinosaur film. Journey to the Center of the Earth. Not a great cover at all. I actually think this cover is dog shit. It's terrible. But I don't know, my little sister and my dad went to Goodwill years ago, and they saw this, it was back when I was living at home, and I came home and this was just like there for me, so, I like it. It's a good movie. It's just, God, what an ugly ass cover. So generic. Then, Land That Time Forgot. MST3K, the new season, just made fun of this too. Pretty much making fun of anything that Shout Factory has the rights to. But, this is a really cool one. This was one that I really liked when I was a kid, because I saw the trailer for it on Fantastic Dinosaurs. And, and how could you not love this one? Doug McClure, right? And The Lost World, What else are you going to say about that? It's a classic. Carnosaur. I love all the Carnosaur movies. I only have the first one on VHS. I have a box set on DVD, so I haven't really made it a point to track down the other ones. But I did a reference this film episode of Carnosaur 3 Primal Species. And my Good Times Dinosaurs 2-pack with Planet of the Dinosaurs, which is the first episode that I ever did of reference this film. And Dinosaurus. I fucking love Planet of the Dinosaurs. And it's just one of the best. It's one of the best movies ever, man. And it's got, claymation stop-motion dinosaurs and guys with cheesy porn mustaches from the 80s. How can you dislike it? Stephen King's Night Shift Collection, The Woman in the Room, and Boogeyman. Once again, I love this cover. I have 2 versions of this cover. I saw this when I was a kid. I rented it just because it looked scary. You know, I've always been obsessed with horror films, and then I saw this copy later in life and had to have it. Critters 2, just got this. Actually, also at Hollywood Babylon. You know, I mean, who doesn't remember these covers when they were a kid, you know? The Critters movies. Piranha 2, The Spawning. You know? Some people really like the Piranha films and really like the remakes. I'm not nuts about them. I like them okay. This one's okay. You know, I mean, it's really cheesy. It's got a really, really cool cover. That's for damn sure. And this was another one that was really iconic when you were a kid, you know. I was seeing this cover everywhere at Hollywood theater, or Hollywood video, and just kind of dreaming about it. Then The Evil on VHS. I got this at a swap because someone was giving it away for $1. I was like, are you kidding me? That's pretty awesome. I'll give it a nice home. I won't sell it like a cheap whore. And I've got some of the Friday the 13th tapes. Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan, is my favorite of the sequels. It just is. It's hilarious. It you know, these especially shouldn't be taken that seriously. So I like when they're tongue-in-cheek. And I love this this cover. I love the music in it too. I actually listen to that song, The Darkest Side of the Night. I listen to it sometimes at work, like on YouTube and shit. These are just cut cases. The first one and the third one that someone put in clamshells, and I saw them at a thrift store for 50 cents each, and I was like, you know, sometimes you feel like you're like rescuing these, you know. They're like, you know, like animals are gonna get put down or something, you know. And sometimes you gotta give them a proper home or something. Anyhow, moving down here, we've got some of my more favorite ones. Some that could be arguably, you know, rare of sorts. Dr. Terror's House of Horrors, which I've done a reference this film episode of this. I spent so long trying to track a copy of this down. Like my entire fucking childhood, I tried to find this movie, and I finally found it in Movie Movers. It's got this old beat up case. I'll eventually put it in a nice case. I'll probably do that right now after this video. Not the best cover, but what are you gonna do? It's one of my favorite films. Attack of the Giant Leeches, Screen Gems. Yeah, I mean, you know, same company that released that copy of Girl in Gold Boots up there. You know, Roger Corman, classic. This is a cool looking cover. They did a good job with that. Land of the Minotaur. It's funny, these international or interglobal home video releases are also some of the worst fucking movies. Just some of the worst movies in the world. Land of the Minotaur. I got this recently, and I have it on DVD in like a 50 movie pack, and have just never watched it. I have enough movies to, you know, go the rest of my life and not watch some of them. But I just got this recently and decided to watch it because I burnt it to a DVD. And I mean, this movie is just painfully boring, you know? And I'm not someone who needs to be, you know, entertained with you know, gore constantly or anything like that. You know, I'm pretty patient and pretty damn forgiving with films, but this bored me to tears. And same thing with Sisters of Death. You know, and I like how uniform these look too. you know. I like how they look, and I'll keep buying them. But, you know, this is definitely the best of the three that I have. You know, about a cult, much like this one, actually. I think that's funny. They're both about, you know, these different cults. But then this one, Monster, you know, there are with John Carradine, there are very few films that I just can't get through. And this is one of them. I don't know what my problem is. I'll get through it someday. But this VHS transfer is just terrible. Cool cover. The picture on the back is from a poster of Blood Waters of Dr. Z. I don't know why that's on there. But God, everything that they put out is just terrible. Two Evil Eyes, George Romero, and Dario Argento. I finally got this. I finally got the Blue Underground DVD of this. For a while, I was just watching it off this tape. I really liked this movie for a really long time. I still do, but I sort of got over my hype for it. My girlfriend, actually, when we first started dating, I you know, sort of just put this movie on. I just put I put whatever I like on. I don't really, I don't really consider how other people might feel about the film. But I remember this actually, like, you know, creeped her out, and she likes horror films. But I remember the George Romero's short in this, where it's the his take on the facts in the case of Mr. Valdemar. I think is the short story that's written by Edgar Allan Poe. But it's about this old guy who, long story short, is hypnotized, but then he dies, but his mind is still alive then. So he's dead, but he's kind of just like still yelling throughout the house, "Somebody wake me up!" And I remember she was like pretty freaked out by that. Link. This was another cover that if you ever used to go to the video store when you were a kid, or when you were an adult. I mean, I don't know how old you guys are. But this is another one that I'm sure everybody looked at this. Never really rented it, but, you know, and it's got a pretty curious title. Or a pretty curious title and pretty curious cover, too. It's pretty good, though, actually. It's pretty clever. And it's not really like a horror film. It's more of like a kind of... Gosh, it's kind of like a psychological thriller, almost. I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's got a smart chimpanzee who's, like, fooling this girl and watching her shower. So, there you go. The Hitcher, which is one of my favorites. I didn't like it when I was younger, for some reason. And I don't know who wrote on this. It's just how I got it. You know, it definitely wasn't high on this movie when I was a kid. And just had this copy and just didn't even really have it out. And then later, probably when I was like 18, 19, kind of in my, you know, stage of being out of school and, you know, working at, you know, going to film school and, you know, getting stoned and going out for auditions and stuff. You know, in those days, I kind of rediscovered this one. And I love it. I fucking love this movie. Rutger Hauer is amazing in it. The Gates of Hell, City of the Living Dead, Lucio Fulci, you know, from his Gates of Hell series. I probably should do a reference this film episode on this one. You know, what is there to say about this? It's got this incredibly nightmarish quality to it. It does, you know, the storyline is all over the place and pretty hard to describe other than the gates of hell have been opened. But it's a great film. It kind of achieves this, like, almost cinematic poetry, you know, because there's not really a super solid storyline to it, you know. Copy of Blue Monkey. I don't know why this hasn't made it to DVD. It's actually a really cool Canadian monster movie. I don't know why it's called Blue Monkey, because it's definitely about a giant bug that runs amok in a hospital. Ruggero Deodato's Cannibal. You know, I got this at Crypticon Seattle. I love this film. It's my favorite cannibal film of all time. I think it's great. Another copy of Day of the Dead. It's beat to shit. I just kind of like the cover here. The Hairs Have Eyes. It's funny, I met Michael Berryman. I think I'm saying his name right. But anyway, I met him at Crypticon Seattle. Me and my friend, we were there showing a short documentary that we made that you can watch on the YouTube channel. But we were sitting at the bar in the hotel, and he was there, and we bought him a drink. He's a pretty cool dude, pretty quiet too. He's probably cautious, hanging around us. The Gate, which is a fantastic '80s horror film about these kids who play a record, this like metal record backwards, and they open up this portal to another dimension where all this crazy shit comes through. These are overflowing up here. The Killer Shrews on VHS, Ray Kellogg film. Jaws 3. I mean, how can you not like that cover? And one of my favorite Bela Lugosi films of all time, The Devil Bat. Super fun movie. I mean, one of the better movies out there that's in the public domain that you can see for sure. For sure. Because there's some real shit out there. Oh, that didn't sound good. I Spit on Your Grave. Not a very fun movie. Cool cover. Not one that I really watch for fun. I also have it on DVD, obviously. You know, this is one of the video nasties that, once again, you can kind of understand why people don't like this film. I mean, it's got like the longest on-screen rape. And, you know, I know that the director, I'm not even going to try to say his name, Miyazaki, I think is how he pronounces it. I know that he tries to peddle this as a feminist film, and maybe it is. But I just kind of consider it lazy exploitation. That's just the way I see it. That's just my opinion. But, I don't necessarily think that you can have a movie that's basically, 30 minutes of rape and 30 minutes of the girl going around cutting dicks off and killing these guys. It's lazy. It's just sort of a lazy script, in my opinion, To each their own, for sure. There are some people that really like that film. The First Troll, Charlie Band, I think. Well, he didn't direct it, but I think he produced it. I could be wrong. Nowhere near the greatness that Troll 2 is, for sure. Just such a kind of nothing film. It's a super cool cover, that I'm sure did fairly well when it was released to home video, but it's pretty baffling that there was an Italian company out there that said, hey, we're going to take your movie called Goblin and we're going to retitle it Troll 2 to ride the coattails of this. I mean, other than having a topless Julia Louise-Dreyfus and Sonny Bono, the movie really doesn't have a ton going for it. The effects are decent, but, I mean, it's sort of whatever. The main characters in this the main character in this is played by Michael Moriarty, I think, but his name is Harry Potter, and it has to do with magic and sorcery, so there you go. Troll. It's the first Harry Potter film. They Came From Within, which is, oh, God, why am I fucking blanking right now? Now I'm gonna look. I want to be that guy. Who directed The Fly? God, he does all the body horror stuff. Cronenberg. Jesus Christ. This is a really good film. Really cool cover, too. Alligator. I've actually seen this at the local Hollywood theater. They do, they actually get 35mm prints of certain films and play it at their Grindhouse festivals. And I saw this on a double bill with another Michael Moriarty film, Q, the Winged Serpent, and Alligator. They played together, and I was there to see Alligator big screen. I mean, I like Q and everything, but I wanted to see Alligator on the big screen. Neon Maniacs. This movie's okay. I liked it a lot better when I was younger, and I didn't really realize that there are so many people out there that love this movie. People are like always wanting the trading cards or whatever for it. I didn't realize it was so big. Screen Time, which is also through Lightning Video, which is a really cool little anthology horror film. Most of I think all of the shorts in it are from the UK, but the wraparound story is set in New York with these guys who robbed this video store, and in the wraparound story it has this girl, it has this super long shower scene to give it nudity and to probably push the runtime out for it, but it's actually pretty good. Some of the shorts in it are really good. Kind of an obscure little film. I should probably do a references film episode on that. Mother's Day. Yeah, not nuts about it. I've only watched all the way through once, to be perfectly honest. Wasn't impressed. Beyond the Door 2, which is really Mario Bava's Shock, which is such a cool film. I actually used to think this movie was pretty scary. There are a couple scenes in this movie that I think are actually pretty creepy. And, once again, the Italians deciding that Beyond the Door had coattails worthy of writing, which it didn't. Just release it as a Mario Bava film. Day of the Animals. This one's really kind of sun-bleached, but it kind of gives it sort of a cool look. It's just how it was when I got it. It's a really cool when animals attack style film, kind of like Grizzly and things like that. I think one of the actors in this was actually in Grizzly, if I'm not mistaken. But it's also got what's his name? Leslie Nielsen, right? Yeah. Leslie Nielsen is in this movie, and he's not funny. So there you go. Don't Go in the House, one of my favorite video nasties. By far one of my favorite video nasties. Just really grim and sort of upsetting film, actually. It's a lot like the movie Maniac. Don't Answer the Phone, another one of the don't films. This is on the opposite end of the spectrum from Don't Go in the House, where this is, I think, fairly well executed and has some creepy moments. This film feels sort of slapped together. The story is, all over the place. The sort of heroes, the cops in this film are kind of shitty human beings. So, the whole movie is sort of a mess, actually. Alright, now going way to the bottom here. I know this one has taken a lot longer than I thought it would. I didn't think this video would be that long. Anyhow, I'll sort of rush through these then. Scream and Scream Again, which I also have in a plastic case because the cover was beat to shit when I got it. This is a really... Talk about a script that's all over the place. Apparently, Vincent Price said years later that he still has no idea what this movie was about, and I'm right there with him. It's pretty tough to figure out. Creepshow 2. I know I have Creepshow somewhere. It might be in one of my other cases. I moved into this new apartment not that long ago, and haven't really had the chance to go through and really make everything neat and pretty. So things are sort of out of order. But anyhow, Creepshow 2, arguably better, or not better than the first one, but I mean, damn near equal to the first one. It came from beneath the sea. Lucio Fulci Zombie. Alright. This is strange, because it says Zombie 2, The Dead Are Among Us. But it's really just Zombie. Or Zombie 2, minus the E. The Italian rip-off universe is just so confusing and so super, super vast. I bought this, obviously I knew that this was either going to just be, well, I knew that it was going to be the first one, but I had to buy the case just to prove my argument that releasing companies, especially Italian distributors, are purposefully trying to confuse people into spending money on the same movie twice. Because, alright, you got that movie, right? And then you've got, just sort of cheating around over here, you've got, okay, you've also got Zombie, or Zombie Dawn of the Dead 2. And then this is Zombie Dawn of the Dead 3. Or it could be ZOMBIE 2, right? Because it's the direct sequel to this. But for some reason, someone decided to make it even more confusing and release ZOMBIE 2, which is really ZOMBIE, or ZOMBI 2. It's just so fucking confusing. And I think that they've just gotten off with confusing people and trying to make them buy more than one copy. So I bought this literally just to prove my fucking point. And I'm going to do, now that I've tried to explain that, and I've probably failed explaining that, I know that I'm going to do a video on that, just about how confusing that is. Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, my favorite Halloween movie, even better than the first one. Fuck it, you know, it's such a good film. George Romero's Night Riders. I shit myself when I found this copy. The Haunting, which, in my opinion, is one of the scariest of the old, early 50s black and white films. I really do. I think it's really scary. And I just read The Haunting of Hill House, which is really good. Which is what that movie's based off of. Metropolis, Fritz Lang, gotta have it. American Werewolf in London, the best werewolf film ever made. Totally, hands down. Moving along, you got Fright Night, fantastic little movie from the 80s. Like I said, Time Warp, which is basically Journey to the Center of Time. Pumpkinhead, Lance Henriksen. Oh, there's Creepshow. See, it needs to be over there with the sequel. Love this movie. I remember when I was a kid, my dad would tell me about this movie, and I'd never seen it, and I just, pictured, the whole movie in my head before I ever even saw it. Just really like that copy of The Birds, too. From Beyond the Grave, which is an Amicus anthology that's sort of like a sequel to, well, not a sequel, but, it's in the same, comes from around the same time as Dr. Terror's House of Horrors and Tales from the Crypt they made as well. House. This is another movie that you used to see, at the movie stores all the time. And I used to just be obsessed with this cover, and I would actually rent this as a kid because, it was just super appealing to little kids. Alice, Sweet Alice. I have this collector's edition of it. which is pretty cool. Which flips open. I don't know how well you can see with this lighting. This movie is so good. It's, you know, it's Brooke Shields' first movie, and she's a little kid in it, and she gets killed by this, you know, masked killer, and everybody starts to suspect her troublemaking sister. And the movie is, you know, even the audience does, even you do, you suspect her. And it's sort of like a giallo in a way, and it's just got one of the creepiest masks in it of any slasher film. Class of '84. I mean, that's sort of what I used to dress like in high school, man. Summer Camp Nightmare. Another movie. I don't know if this has made it to DVD or not, but it should. It's pretty good. Sleepaway Camp. The 2 stars from Sleepaway Camp are going to be at Crypticon Seattle. So, definitely going to have to get like an autographed poster from them or something. One of the craziest twist endings to a movie. John Carpenter's Prince of Darkness. Or, you know. I Drink Your Blood. These Something Weird videos. This movie's pretty cool. It's hilarious. They always play a trailer to this at the Grindhouse showings at the Hollywood Theater. And everybody always laughs because it's like, you know, little kid who's putting rabies into meat pies and feeding them to hippies. And it's like sort of supposed to be taken seriously. At least I think that that's what they were going for. I just have a couple of clamshells down here. I have most of my clamshells in a case over there, in a glass case. But these ones aren't that, you know, special, so I just kind of flopped them down here. Wolfen, which is a horrible cover. I mean, goddamn. You know, it's not like they didn't have the ability to make a decent cover, because this is a decent cover. The Town That Dreaded Sundown. This is a pretty cool movie. It's based on a real murder that happened in Texarkana, Texas. And after watching this movie, I was pretty like intrigued by it. I read the entire Wikipedia page about this actual real life murder, because they never caught the guy. And Charles B. Pierce made this movie, and he's the guy who made Boggy Creek 2. So, all right, that's probably like an hour's worth of footage, and that's just one of my shelves. So, I mean, I have enough movies to make many more of these. So, thanks for watching, guys.